Well, Remembrance Day has had a significant impact on me. Each Remembrance Day, and for, I would guess, close to 35 years, I have been laying a wreath on behalf of either the city of White Rock or the province of British Columbia. And I think of each time I think as I'm laying that wreath, I'm thinking of my great uncle, who was killed in the First World War in Arras, France, who I am named after. We have a postcard that he sent to us about a month before the war ended, saying that war is awful. I hope it'll end soon and I can be home to help the family with the harvest in Saskatchewan. And he was killed about, I guess, 2 weeks to a month after that happened, but just before the war ended. So I remember that. I remember the history within my family, but also the history of so many other families. I think one of the most powerful things that I've seen in terms of influencing young children and families was when we did Operation Remembrance in our community, and there are probably somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 unmarked graves of veterans across British Columbia. And at Sunnyside, there were about 36 graves that were unmarked, and we had school children, elementary school children, coming in and cleaning up the site. The teacher was telling me that when some of the kids were there earlier doing some of the cleaning, and they were, I think, grades 3 and 4, they were running around and playing, and somebody, a woman came from across the street and yelled at them and said, well, this is what you're doing is wrong, that you're running and playing here in this graveyard where there should be respect. And when the teacher explained what was going on, the woman sat down with the children and explained that her father had been killed in the war and went through it. It was a wonderful learning experience for both the woman, but for the children to have that connectedness, and it brought really strong new meaning to that. So we put markers in, we had flags for each one of them, and when the ceremony, the day came, we had the Lieutenant Governor present, we had a military person standing beside each one of those grave sites, along with a elementary school child holding a Canadian flag, and the person from the military in uniform saluting. So I give credit to so many teachers who are doing that, so many parents who recognize the importance of understanding our history and importance of looking at what the people have done. So many people have done for our country and indeed for the world through that process. There are a number of people who have been in Afghanistan and have been injured in Afghanistan. What we have found is that some of the young people, when they come back and have been injured, that under the changes the federal government has made to some of the allowances, that they're not doing very well in terms of that. A young man that came in, his father came into my office, and he'd been offered $41,000, and he'd lost some internal organs, was damaged for life, was very limited in the things that he could do. And the response they get from us, our government, is much less than they would receive if they were injured here, which I don't think makes sense to most of us, and so I think there's a need to repair that. So there's the Equitas as a society is raising funds to challenge this under the Constitution. My parents, I think, my father being a physician and a doctor, and my mother being a nurse, they'd always had great respect for life and for health, and grew up teaching us that, understanding that, and teaching us that it's about how do we take care of each other in this world. What are the things that we do to do that? So they've always presented that. Even if they weren't at the cenotaph, there was a minute's silence that always took place. They always went through the silence and the process, and at 11:11 on the 11th, it was always a time that was sacred. They're in fact at Victory Memorial Park, and so they're together there, and so it is a special place to have it. And I've gone there for a number of ceremonies celebrating Victory Day in Europe, and go to my parents each time that happens to participate in that one.